Welcome, friends,
to the How-To Heretic.
I'm Uncle Mark.
And I'm Uncle Dan.
I'm Uncle Doug.
And this is your user's guide to life on the outside.
That's right. Leaving religion is the first step into a larger, better world.
But it can also be a scary world. Things work differently now.
Never fear. That's why we're here.
We're your audio uncles. And with help from good friends and experts in all sorts of fields.
We're going to share the stories and seek the knowledge to build a great life.
After all, you only get the one that we know of, so you'd better make the most of it.
Oh my God, guys.
What?
What?
What did we do?
Can you fucking believe it?
I actually kind of can't. It's
100 episodes, we are a full fucking Benjamin of a podcast.
That's right, three figures.
The big centurion.
Yes.
It's a
They
big
said
deal.
it couldn't be done. They were half right.
They
And
were
here
mostly-
we are. Yes.
They didn't say it couldn't be done badly. So
Yeah,
that's
no,
right.
They weren't specific enough, were they?
yeah. So haha, jokes on all of them.
Here we are at episode 100 of the How-To Heretic. And gosh, what a journey it's been. What fun we've had.
Yeah.
And we thought, gosh, what are we going to do for 100 episodes?
So we
and-
all stripped naked
Because
and,
Dan could not fit in the Evel Knievel outfit we had prepared for the jump over the Grand Canyon. We said, fuck it.
I was ready to go, but if we're not going to do that, we thought, what if we did a clip show?
What if we did a little retrospective?
Yeah.
Because not all of it's bad. Like some of what we did was fun.
We managed to pull together an entire show of good stuff. So that's 100
I don't know why
episodes
people.
for you.
I don't know why people say that clip shows are kind of a cop-out or easy.
Oh my God, no!
I had to go back and listen to tons of our backlog episodes, and
that's torture.
have you guys ever listened to this podcast?
No,
Never.
it's awful.
It's awful.
It's
Never.
a terrible show.
Yeah, it's a terrible show. I hate it. I hate you, and I hate me. So
Yeah, exactly.
in that spirit, you guys, let's just launch in. We found some really fun stuff. And Dan one time had a clever idea back in episode 21 that we should, in support of our upcoming appearance on Gamcast 131 Samson, actually take a look at the biblical book of Samson and see what gems of critical knowledge we could glean from it. So let's go to the tape.
To which his father-in-law says, "Oopsie doodle, I thought you were so mad at her that I gave her to one of your friends from the party. So do you want her younger sister? She's cuter."
Oh my God! What the fuck? This is
So he's pretty pissed about that whole affair. It all seems like it's not like he can say, "No, I just want my original wife back."
boy. This bet has gone pear-shaped.
It's a little bit. It went a little askew.
Yeah.
But he has a solution,
Yes.
and that solution is
Kill 30 guys.
I can't. It's just it's
Okay. What's
no,
the solution?
No. Okay. How many foxes?
No, not another animal. Oh my God! This is like Aesop's fables on ketamine.
I can't. How many foxes can you gather in a space of a reason? Let's give it a week. How many foxes can you guys come up with?
What?
He gathers 300 foxes together.
For what? This is you're making this up. Uncle Dan is crying. Oh my God!
I can't tell the story. It's so stupid. Oh my God.
Yeah, I've never seen you so red.
Okay. He gets 300 foxes. He takes them in twos and ties their tails together.
What?
And lights torches onto their tails and then sets them free in his father-in-law's orchards
What?
and fields.
And he burns everything
He
down.
burns it all down.
Is that the most efficient way to start a fire?
Flaming fucking foxes.
Jesus Christ.
literally
never heard that.
I literally don't know what the. Oh, it's fun. You know, it doesn't really hit you until you have to tell somebody else.
Okay.
300 foxes. He ties them. He gets them butt to butt, ties their tails together, puts a torch on them, and sends them out and burns all of his father-in-law's crops and orchards and everything.
Okay.
Okay. Then the
Very
town's
elaborate
right
plan.
and just cruel, unnecessarily cruel to foxes.
Well, I think it's proof that revenge can not only be sweet, it can also be super strange.
Indeed. Well, you know, I got to give the guy points for creativity.
Yeah.
No one ever saw that coming.
No.
You know what I bet he's not going to do?
Wow.
God. It is the stupidest thing. Why Bible? Why leave that in?
Dear Bible, what are you doing? I have to apologize to everybody because that was like literally 13 seconds worth of story that we just heard, and it took us 3 minutes for me to get it out.
Oh my God!
So stupid.
The most elusive and difficult to capture animal, and he decides to get 300 of them.
Right? An animal that's literally known for its craftiness,
Right.
its cleverness.
Cunning. Yes.
Yeah. Okay.
Its ability to get away. So wonderful.
There you go. Doug, I remember in episode 43, you had a wonderful little story about everybody's favorite actress
About what's in the box.
website.
What's in the box?
Oh my God!
Oh,
well,
shit.
and was in the box ended up being goop. Mm-hmm. So let's hear you talking about that.
Happy Easter, everybody.
So amongst others, so there's a hyaluronic serum for $300. There's Uncle Dan, you're gonna love this one. There is the Goop medicine bag for $85. Quote. Inspired by the shaman's medicine bag from various indigenous traditions. Traditions, sorry.
Native transitions.
Wait,
That's another segment.
Is it leather? Does it actually have like a pouch?
It's a pouch. This Goop exclusive pouch holds magically charged stones, citrine, clear quartz, black obsidian, rose quartz, amethyst, lapis lazuli, cornelian, and Chrysocolla, also known as the Goddess Stone. It is a bag of fucking rocks.
A bag of rocks
for $85.
Yes.
And then
And are they small rocks? Because I don't think I can get all that whole bag up my vagina at once.
these are not the rocks for your poos, Mark. These are a little jagged.
But you know what?
Right.
Try anyway. Who knows?
I'm not saying I'm not going to try it.
Get that goddess up there. Who knows what'll happen?
Yeah.
And then Uncle Dan, this is for you too. There are a series of water bottles, the smoky quartz, the amethyst bottle, quote, for $80. $80 fucking dollars. This gorgeous water bottle is made with smoky quartz crystal to infuse the water with positive energy.
Nope.
And-
Okay. I
Wait,
hate
what
her.
the fuck is it made of?
Uncle Mark, you can't see this. It is a water bottle
It is
with
a
a crystal in it.
Plastic bottle with a like sort of obelisk shaped crystal
In it
sort of projecting up into your water.
for $80. And of course, Uncle Mark. Oh shit! I forgot. There's also a between the sheets section.
Ooh.
This is I'm out.
No. Get back in here. You're going to love it.
Among other things, there's Benwa balls, which I didn't know about.
Benwell balls are a thing, yeah.
Strengthen your Kegels and have a better orgasm all at once.
Okay, yeah.
Any guess on the cost of the Benwa balls?
What are they made of?
Fuck if I know. Metal.
Benoit. I'm
Unobtainium.
going to say $140. I don't know.
$885.
Jesus Christ.
What?
I have never spent that much
$885?
for an orgasm in my life.
Well, and you showed
Yes,
me
you
the
have.
that ring with feathers on it that was
It's like $150. No, it was more than that.
it was a fucking fortune for it was literally a ring that goes on your finger and it's got feathers. So
And then, Mark, you'll be happy to hear about the in January 2017, Goop marketed the Jade Egg for $66 as a
Yes.
form of vaginal weightlifting. According to the website, is used by women to increase sexual energy, health, and pleasure. And then I love this quote after it. It says, again, gynecologists were critical of this project or product. Oh,
yeah.
God.
You think?
That's all it says is that teach the controversy, essentially.
Yeah, and it says if in case it gets too far up the vagine, it can be expelled by holding in a sneeze or having a friend do a light Heimlich maneuver.
Oh, fuck.
Turn in case of
What if you're
emergency.
in an elevator or
Turn upside down, do a headstand, and have someone kick you in the face.
just you're at work and you just fucking try to sneeze and rock out your fucking green egg.
I'm just sitting here
I would
imagining.
call the Ghostbusters. Oh my god!
I'm just imagining some kid being at home and suddenly his mom goes, and out comes an egg.
What
Mom!
will that do to
Mom,
his
you
view
laid
of
an
human
egg!
reproduction?
That's amazing.
I feel fine. It came out. A laughing spell is another way to get it out.
Yeah,
Yep.
exactly. Just read the instructions,
not
and it
an
might
egg.
be enough to get it out of you.
That's not an egg, guys. I got to go to the bathroom. Oh my god!
Shame on you, Gwyneth.
That clip was
High-speed
just us
eggs.
laughing.
Yeah, I think maybe this is a clip show of just us having more fun than the audience is.
Well, that's probably typical.
We were actually gifted one of those eggs by a listener.
What?
Yeah.
Where's that egg?
I think it's in this room.
Is it in here somewhere?
Did we get an egg?
Everybody holding a sneeze.
Okay, hang on.
It's missing. Who's the culprit?
Oh my god.
Oh,
I
well,
do love our listeners and their propensity to give us things.
Yeah.
It's kind of amazing.
Well, over the course of the show, we've talked a lot about examples in history of people very stupidly dying for their convictions.
Oh my god, so many.
But back in episode 79, Mark found an individual who most assuredly did not die for his convictions
No.
in the form of Shabbatai Zevi.
Yay, Shabbatai Zevi.
So let's listen back to Mark talking about history's greatest coward, I suppose.
By now, he had countless followers. His power as a religious figure was nearly absolute. The year of the millennium was at hand. All the planets, including his namesake Jupiter, had aligned to deliver this great man to this great moment. Hallelujah! Now, remember when I said to put a pin in Nathan the prophet saying Shabbatai was going to take the Sultan's crown?
Yeah.
I don't know about you guys, but I don't know a lot of sultans. The ones I do know are pretty tight with their crowns. My sultan friends would not take overly kindly to some so-and-so from Smyrna thinking he was going to come snatch it. And so it was that God's anointed messenger to bring about the end and the new beginning was summoned in all his majesty before the vizier of the sultan's right-hand man.
Yeah.
There he stood, our Shabbatai, beloved by his people, mouthpiece for God himself and a god in his own right. And it was in this crackling, portentous silence the vizier spoke. Shabbatai, messenger of the Almighty, instrument of cosmic realignment, was given 3 choices. First, he may prove his divinity by a test via archery. meaning he would be tied to a post and archers would fire at him.
Oh shit. Nice.
If they missed, he must be divine.
See, I had this I when you said that I had a very
He was going to fire something?
Yeah, I had a Robin Hood sort of scenario in my head.
I figured he'd be on the business end of the
Well,
arrow.
remember that the woman who does the Ramtha channeling?
Yeah.
Part of her practice is her people do blindfolded archery.
Really?
It's amazing that there's anyone left. So if they missed him, he would be divine. If they hit him, well, it's a fair cop.
Yeah.
So choice the second. He could just straight up be impaled on a pointed stick right there, right now. And third, he could simply convert to Islam, denounce all of his messianic nonsense, and walk out the door a free man with a fine house, a pension, and a second wife to boot. Now, in the pregnant, static-filled air of one of history's great moments, Shabbatai puffed up his chest, stuck out his chin, looked the vizier squarely in the eye, and proclaimed, "Yeah, number 3. Let's do that
Yeah,
one."
I'm a Muslim now. That is awesome.
There is no God but Allah.
And so it was the very next day that the newly christened Aziz Mehmed Effendi stood before the slyly smiling Sultan and removed his Jewish attire forever and donned a Turkish turban. He sent out a simple message to his madly devoted followers around the world, saying simply, "God has made me an Ishmaelite. He has commanded, and it was done." And with that, the feverish year of 1666 ended not with a bang, but with a whimper. And the formerly anointed Messiah spent the rest of his life puttering around the house as a low-level Ottoman nobleman. Well, all's well that ends well.
Yeah, sure.
And I can't say I would have taken a braver way out than Shabbat Zvi.
Oh,
But,
my God. Are you
no.
kidding me?
Yeah, 100%. That was the right choice.
I've given up on my beliefs to not miss a meal.
Option 2 is definitely out. Option 1 does not look so good.
Yeah.
But, good for him. Good for him. Following on that, some of history's great stories. Uncle Doug, of course, the formerly professional Mormon of all three of us, really likes to do these deep dives into some of the greatest pieces of history's literature. And so it was that he took us for a little swim around in a little known book that perhaps you've heard of, you probably haven't, called Revelation.
Oh, my God.
Let's listen in.
A hell of a way to close out a Bible, I'll tell you that right now.
If you got to close out the Bible, go out in fire.
Right.
It's a real cliffhanger. Let's listen.
Okay, so chapter 10 begins with another angel coming down from heaven with a rainbow on his head, carrying a little book. He lands with one foot on... It's a little book. He lands with one foot on the land and another on the sea, cries out...
Does it say little book?
It says little book. Little book. Just wait. So he lands with one foot on the sea and one on the land. And
So he fucked up and he just falls over. Yeah.
and
Ruins
then
his book.
He cries out and 7 thunders ring out. And at which point John is commanded to write what the 7 thunders said, what they uttered, but then seal it up forever. So we don't get to know what the 7 thunders said.
What the fuck? I
know.
Okay, well then don't tell us about it.
If I honestly,
right?
if I had like a very creatively imaginative 10-year-old,
Yeah.
and they'd written this as their creative story, I'd be like, it's pretty awesome.
All right.
That's
I mean,
amazing.
it's an incoherent fucking mess.
Next
but-
time we'll work on narrative structure, but
right?
Exactly.
but I really like how creative you are.
Yeah, you read Harry Potter and it inspired you,
Yeah.
and it's all insane. But
So this is where you want to take your kid to the doctor.
Right.
John is commanded to go and take the little book from the angel and eat it.
this is the longest setup for a joke ever. All that was just to make him eat a fucking book. A little book.
A little book.
Also, P.S. Not how books work.
Why did he eat it?
It doesn't say.
What's in the book?
No, well, all it says is, although it's as sweet as honey, it makes his belly bitter.
Well,
What?
yeah.
So,
That's not how honey works.
Whoa, this is a delicious book, but
exactly.
have you ever tried to digest pulp?
You know, in the middle of all this fucking apocalyptic insanity, here's a little nosh.
And a moose bouche.
Here's a little honey book,
It's a
babe.
palate cleanser. Okay, so, all right, so that's chapter 10. Now,
Oh my god, I'm sweating.
we're in chapter 11, which is the last chapter we'll cover today. Thank God. John is ordered to measure the temple. With
Wait, we don't get to learn anything about what was in the book.
Nope. Well, he ate it.
It's just
It's gone now.
An angel came all the way from heaven, did not nail the dismount. in a sea of blood, burning forest,
with one soggy foot.
locust with an autocrat in charge of them. All this going on, and to deliver a book. That's the craziest thing I've ever heard.
And now it's turned to shit. Oh my God. Okay, so chapter 11, John is ordered to measure the temple with a rod. But not
Because you know what's important when the earth
know.
is like spinning out of control is a survey.
exactly. But he's commanded not to measure the courtyard around it because the Gentiles will tread it underfoot for 42 months. I was getting really fucking tired of this fucking book at this point.
For 42 months.
Which, by the way, if you happen to know the measurements of a trod grounds, you're fucked.
Jesus Christ.
I don't know what any of that means.
I didn't know that this was the source material for LeVar Burton's new project, The Eating Rainbow. Where you just enjoy eating a book every week. So fucking stupid.
Oh my God.
So stupid. Well, and over the course of this podcast, not only have we read a bunch of Bible stories, but we've actually made a couple field trips.
Oh my God, yes.
Yeah, and one of them, Uncle Dan and I went down to southern Utah to see what could charitably be called a play.
It was the final year of the Mormon pageant, the miracle pageant.
Right. What was the miracle? I don't know.
Not sure.
But
unclear.
Does it matter with such a theatrical tour de force?
With so much
Right?
pageantry
so many
happening.
were there pyrotechnics?
There were pyrotechnics, yeah.
right.
Remember flames jumping out of the volcano thing?
Oh,
and,
yeah, that's right.
and literally thousands of people
Yeah, I was pretty-
running around on a hill.
I was pretty drunk by
And
then.
Jesus lowered from a construction crane?
Yeah, it was pretty impressive.
Yeah.
But one of the source materials of the play got Dan to dig a little deeper into a story from the Book of Mormon.
One that I had never even heard of. Like, why did they choose this?
Yeah, exactly.
We figured it out later, but it was just like, what?
But it took some work.
It took some real work to figure out what the hell they were doing. Like, it's not one of the big stories of the Book of Mormon.
No, so let's listen to Uncle Dan struggle his way through a very pointless story.
So he plants a bunch of soldiers on the left bank of the... He finds a valley, and he plants some soldiers and hides them on the left bank of the river, and hides some other soldiers on the right bank of the river. Do you see how clever?
The anti-Lehi, Manti-Nephi, anti-Valley?
This is... Yes.
Ha.
No.
Good.
Yeah, yes,
Ha.
exactly. So, anyway, he also rallied a bunch of other... I don't know what. Tribes? A bunch of other groups to fight with them. And they hid in all of these different places in this valley that they knew that the bad guys would come through.
Okay.
So,
I'm
Sounds
starting
good.
to think that Joseph Smith was not a great storyteller.
what? Wait, you hold on. Hold that thought. Let's put a pin in that. We'll come back to it.
Act 3 better be pretty good.
Right?
It won't be.
Nope. So the bad guys come through the valley, and then Nephites pop up. Ha-ha! And the southern attack was led by Lehi. No, not that one. And they managed to surround the Lamanites. Now, I'm going to read you. This is Alma chapter 43, verse 36. I'm going to read it exactly because I think we'll all figure out what's really being said here.
What if I can't handle the truth? I don't know. I don't know if I'm ready for this.
Oh, I think you'll like this one.
Okay.
The Lamanites, when they saw the Nephites coming upon them in the rear,
No,
turned around and began to contend with the army of Lehi.
And contend they did.
Yummy.
come on. Jesus.
Yeah. I just thought that was cute. That was nice and sexy.
Sure.
I am going to go on, though, and read probably verses 37 and 38 as well, just so that all of you people who weren't raised in Mormonism, who have never had to contend with this fucking language, I want you to hear how shitty this stuff is. So here we go. Verse
Okay.
37. And the work of death commenced on both sides, but it was more dreadful on the part of the Lamanites, for their nakedness was exposed to the heavy blows of the Nephites with their swords and their scimitars, which brought death among almost at every stroke. There was now and then a man fell among the Nephites by their swords and the loss of blood, that being shielded from the more vital parts of the body, or the more vital parts of the body being shielded from the strokes of the Lamanites by the breastplates and their arm shields and their head plates, and thus the Nephites did carry on the work of death among the Lamanites.
Did he just say the
Jesus.
same thing twice back to back?
Constantly.
God, that's dreadful.
There were like 8 times I thought I had a stroke reading this thing.
Oh, the Book of Mormon.
You know, it's just good literature.
It's
when
the,
it comes
it's
right
the
down
gift
to it.
that keeps on never giving.
If you carved out all the and it came to passes and wrote it in a clear, concise manner, it would be like 10 pages long.
Yeah, it would definitely. Well, it would be tolerable. That's
Well, you did
or
that,
more
didn't you, Dan?
tolerable.
Didn't you correct some document?
You
where
did, yeah.
that?
I did that for one chapter of the book and managed to shave it down from what was it?
It was a significant
It
amount.
was I had it. Let's see. I've got it here. I had it. It started, I think, with 1800. This is one chapter. This is Book of Alma, chapter 32. I had it. It started with 1886 words, and by the time I had done 2 passes, I had it down to 1500 words.
Oh my God.
And that's just one chapter, and that's literally like I went out of my way not to fuck up any of the narrative or any of that stuff. I was just taking out extraneous words.
I think that's a good start.
Yeah,
I
right.
think that you should keep going.
Yeah, right.
The trick of making people believe is to bore them to death. And then the poison just slides right in. And speaking of which,
yes, education is important, and the Christians can be the best at it, I think. And so did Doug think when he actually decided to dive into the ACE program, the Accelerated Christian Education Program, and decided to tell us. He gave us a taste of what it was like to take a test with the ACE curriculum, and I think you and I, Mark, almost died.
So this gets to the heat of the meat here, which is several questions that somebody pulled out of a bunch of these curriculums that are, you will not believe that I did not make these up.
I think we need to order these things.
Oh my! So
Why do you not have these here? All of them.
let's set up a school.
Let's set up a school.
Here are some questions from the tests at the end of each of these paces for various age groups. So the first few questions are from the 4th grade curriculum, which is 9 to 10-year-olds. And these are real questions. And the first few are kind of word definition, multiple choice questions. So
Yeah.
Wisdom. Then there's a sentence. The pastor spoke with great wisdom. Wisdom means A, a test, B, godly thinking, or C, tasty milk.
What?
I did not make
That
that.
doesn't mean any of those things. Tasty milk?
Tasty milk.
As opposed to all of that not so tasty milk.
Okay, Louis Pasteur.
Right.
Mr. Louis Pasteur did experiments with...
Wait. We transitioned from tasty milk to Pasteur. Good.
Yeah, but it is...
That works.
Did experiments with milk. Mr. Pasteur was a glass bottle, an airplane, or a scientist.
Or tasty milk.
Okay. How old are these children?
These are 9 to 10-year-olds. These are questions for 9 to 10-year-olds.
This is the only thing. What's this called? Accelerated.
Accelerated Christian
This is the fastest
education.
way to make a child stupid.
Yes.
The
If
statistics.
you put them in a fucking box,
Yeah.
and
They'd
never
come out
spoke
better.
to them, they'd come out better.
Yeah.
It's like if you took Wile E. Coyote and he's run off the cliff and he's about to fall down, and you give him a jetpack and aim it downward.
Is Mr. Louis Pasteur an airplane?
I know. It's the education system is based on memorization, not education.
Right.
So these questions will repeat throughout the course of all of these paces as you get older. So you don't learn anything. You learn to answer very specific and dumb questions. And so the statistics on people who come out of these programs are abysmal. Like when because you can go all the way through high school.
How is that possible?
Yeah, it doesn't seem likely.
All right, one more question from the 9 to 10-year-olds.
Oh, yes, please.
Spout, and that's the word. Children played happily in the water spout. Spout means A, a stream of water, B, 2 dry ducks, or C, playground.
I got to phone a friend.
Not making
My
this
fucking skull just caved in. 2 dry ducks.
What the Okay.
I mean, it's clear they're fucking with us.
Spout is 2 dry.
They're funny. It's like...
What the fuck? There's no. The only description for 2 dry ducks is 2 fucking dry ducks.
I know.
There's no shorthand for that. Oh my God! And these people vote.
Do you know why they're dry? No tasty milk.
Because Mr. Pasteur, the airplane, flew over them.
Okay, you guys, we're not even scratching the surface of the dumb here. No. So let's bump up to 7th grade.
Okay, Doug, you are so making
You're not going to believe it. If you think I'm making these up, wait till we get to high school age kids.
Oh my God.
All right, so 7th grade, 12 to 13-year-old kids.
Okay. Okay.
To become a journalist, one should earn a bachelor's degree in art, journalism, music.
Fuck off. Really? Fuck off.
So I'm gonna skip some questions because let's go to 9th grade. So these are 14 to 15-year-olds.
I have a master's degree in 2 dry ducks.
And you're not going to believe these questions. Okay, so this is 14 to 15-year-old kids, 9th grade.
Sweating.
Have you heard of dry ducking though? I think that's a thing.
At BYU.
Happens in the men's locker room.
Little thing for our Mormon listeners there. Sorry, everybody else.
Oh my God.
All right, question. Darwin's well-known book was called A, Top Banana in the Jungle. B,
It's actually better. It's actually better.
Uncle Mark.
No, it's not.
Uncle Mark's done.
Oh my God, please. The others are going to kill me.
Okay. B, The Origin of Species. Or C, No one is going to make a monkey out of me. And the thing is, the book is actually on the origin of species,
Right.
so
They've
there is
even
no
gotten the
correct
right
option.
one right. Wrong.
Okay, guys.
The origin of 2 dry ducks.
And true or false? Leif Erikson played shortstop in the Icelandic League.
No.
Come on.
Shut up.
Did not make that up.
Shut up.
I did not make that up. Jesus Christ.
Fucking
Dumb
hell.
it fucking hurts.
Oh my God. Well, I mean, at least we had pretty shitty public school education, but we can beat that.
Yeah. Well, and God bless Johnny Scaramanga who put all that research into that subject, because Jesus Christ, what a mess.
Yeah, nightmarish. And then, we actually got emails after that. We had a great time with how silly that was. We got some emails about how fucking tragic it was for people who went through it. So,
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
These people then think that they're prepared for college and go in there and they're like, hey guys, how we all doing? And suddenly they're slammed with reality and
right.
damn, that's gotta hurt.
Right.
Yeah, we had a woman tell us that she literally was like, "Oh my God, I wanted to be an archaeologist," and when I started looking into colleges, I realized I have to start at 1st grade again. I have no fucking knowledge, and how hard it was the most heartbreaking thing I've ever read. So let's have a laugh at that.
Yeah, way to bring it down, Mark.
Yeah,
Jeez.
man. So let's bring it back up with a little exploration Uncle Dan had in episode 86, because Dan loves baseball.
Yes. If there's one thing we can say about me, it's sporty. Now, the big coup came, as they so often do, when he brought in some credulous, wealthy businessmen to serve, or who were in search themselves of a messiah. Lewis,
So he found himself in Oliver Cowdery, is what you're saying.
That's right. Yeah. Lewis and Albert Boschke joined up around 1902 and agreed to give Benji over $400,000.
Oh my God.
Roughly $10 million in today's money.
What? Oh my God.
Yeah. So from there, it was on. They built a huge commune on thousands of acres of land.
Wow.
And were able to attract probably thousands of followers, which is a testament to how shockingly easy it is to convince some folks that you're Jesus's brother. Oh yeah, he's Jesus's brother now and the Messiah, when you're well funded.
Right.
So,
Right.
I say shocking in part because joining the Israelite house of David has some pretty rough requirements. First,
Okay.
you had to give up all your earthly possessions and turn them into the collective.
Well, that's classic stuff. That's classic.
Right, yeah. Presumably that's easier for the poor people, and usually that's who you're going to be getting a lot of when you start your cult.
It's a volume business. Exactly.
Yeah, you had to commit to a vegetarian diet and no alcohol or tobacco. So that that's
Classic.
that's a lot. But yeah, we not unheard of in this time.
Yeah.
Men Now, this is a big one. We'll keep coming back to this one. Men were not allowed to cut their hair or shave their beards.
Oh, boy.
A lawyer for the group said that old Benji had sorted out a good scientific reason why the Old Testament had rules about not shaving, which were, he said, members wear their hair and beards long because they believe they can absorb electricity from the air with their long hair.
Wow, that's not where I thought that was going.
And the electricity is just as important as food. So, science.
That's why Samson was so strong, right?
Yeah,
exactly. The electrical current.
Yeah, he's like Thor.
Exactly.
Really.
He was like a walking taser.
And then there was the House of David view on sex. Anybody want to take a guess?
Didn't like it.
Okay, Doug says against.
I have a feeling that they were for it.
Okay, Mark says for. 100% not allowed ever.
Wow.
At all.
Oh.
No sex. It is verboten with one giant caveat that I'll bet you can guess, but we'll get to it.
Yeah.
Yeah. Married couples could only join if they redefined their relationship as brother and sister.
Whoa.
Yeah.
Ooh.
So no sex was allowed. Now,
Well, in the Midwest, that probably wasn't such complicated paperwork to do, right?
mind you, they were
Goodbye,
going to
Midwestern listeners.
Yeah, I know. Bye, everybody. Yeah, exactly.
We're from Utah. We can throw those kind of stones, assholes.
Yeah, we exactly. We have all the room in the world to criticize everybody's state.
Baseball, electricity, and celibacy.
It's a recipe for joy.
It's a recipe for Jesus' success or something.
God, what a mess.
Yeah. Wow. We talk a lot about a lot of stupid stuff, but I think maybe none of it has gotten quite as stupid, Mark, as your roundup of the phenomenon of the sort of, Middle Ages or whatever, of animal court.
Yes.
Dun dun.
So let's take a listen to episode 46 and what ends up happening there.
So, back to the absurdities of bird court. So, in most cases, an aggrieved person would make a pleading to the judge about damaged crops or whatever, and the court would dispatch an investigator to estimate the damage. Once they reported back to the judge, then the judge would invariably demand public processions and prayers to allay heaven's anger before the trial proper began.
I think, by the way, I'm just going to throw this out there. We're going to have a new Patreon goal for all of you. If we make enough money with this thing, we will make Enzo attaché to bird court. It will be a movie, and the investigator will be an Italian. We'll figure it out. We're working on it.
Yeah, he's a hard-hitting, hard-boiled, hard-drinking
bird investigator,
bird cop. So if those intercessions for holy help didn't work, it was off to the races.
Yeah.
One of the most famous incidents was the one that Drunk History tackled beautifully. The rats of Autun, France, were summoned to answer for their devouring of the region's barley crops, and the judge appointed a guy whose name is so beautiful I just have to say it. Bartholomew Chassenet.
Oh.
He argued that the rats could not be expected to appear because they lived all over the place.
Right. And we can't catch them.
And the court thought, yeah, that's a good idea. You're right. So the court ordered summons to be read in all the towns and villages affected, read out loud in French.
In French, which is the rat language.
To the rats. Yeah. When they failed to appear again, Chassenet argued, the journey was arduous and cats were fucking everywhere, so it was an unfair burden on his clients, and he won.
I think now we got a spin-off series that is our second Patreon goal, which is Rat Defender. Bartholomew, Rat Defender.
And he's on a bus bench, his arms crossed.
Are you a rat?
You a rat? I can help you out. You won't be surprised that pigs, again, were frequently the offending party, as they can be aggressively omnivorous. They were often tried for eating the body parts of children that were unable to escape them.
Oh, yeah.
One pig was hanged for eating an entire child It gets better. And it was an aggravated offense because it was a Friday.
Oh my God! Well,
It's Fish on Fridays, Mr. Pig, not Philip.
And not for nothing, but do pigs have necks? Can you make a pig?
It sounds really complicated.
can't be easy. No matter what,
Keeps slipping out.
I'll show you on the board after the show. There's a whole way you do it. So again in France, 3 sow pigs went nuts and killed a young man. There were several piglets in the pen as well that were spattered with blood. In a strange moment of mercy, it was decided in lengthy proceedings that the piglets were innocent, so they were not hanged or burned like their murderous mother and aunties.
finally justice being served.
At last, mercy. So victim blaming was a whole side business of these absurd courts. Animals who had been raped by humans were treated especially harshly.
Oh well,
no.
Whores.
because that's biblical, obviously.
Yeah, and that's where the word horse comes from, is whores. So a donkey that got fucked by some peasant was sentenced to burn with him. It was,
They burned the peasant too, though.
they burned the peasant too.
Okay.
So
At least, at least there's
So
that.
him
Yeah.
and his girlfriend.
that's something like justice, his
Yeah.
girlfriend. But this donkey was known to kick because, of course, it was. So its hooves were chopped off before it was burned alive next to the rapist.
Oh my God! What did they chop off of the rapist?
I don't know. It didn't say.
Well,
Yeah,
think
didn't say.
we
I'll
all
go
know.
back and see in the microfiche and see if I can find it. So let me end close to where we began, with a Charlie Kelly-style miracle of hilarity and super earnest human weirdness. In 1587, the vineyards of Julian, France, were beset by humble weevils. You know, insects, the thing the Bible says have 4 legs for all the science nerds out there.
right.
An ecclesiastical court was convened, and it was determined that the weevils were indeed ruining the harvest. Their defense attorney argued that they were God's creation, and they were also entitled to sustenance. The prosecution agreed, but said man did have dominion over them. This was a huge quandary, so the townsfolk came up with a compromise. In exchange for the weevils leaving their vineyards, they would select a nice piece of land that could forever be the weevils' property to live on.
Weevilville.
Well,
Weevillville.
Mark, I'm sorry, but you always have to choose between the lesser of two weevils.
Wow! I'm canceling the show. That was the last one.
I thought we'd make it. I thought we'd make it to 50, but we didn't. So the
How are you guys the punsters in this one? I'm like notoriously bad at I'm a punter, but
Yeah.
you guys are really
You're more the dad joke guy.
yeah. I guess
I don't know
so.
what's going on today?
It's rough.
We flipped the script. So what's really crazy about all this is when you read these stories, you hear about these stories originally, you're just like religious people just lost their fucking minds like a witch trial and just set people on fire.
Sure.
But this was really an earnest attempt to negotiate with nature.
Right.
And
just
fairly.
yeah.
Chopping the hooves
Look,
off and burning it, not so much.
I mean, it does reek a little bit of you don't want to put people on reservations. We've learned this now, but
yes, they had not learned it in 1587.
right. But
So-
weevils, surely they cooperated.
Well, it gets even better. So the defense attorney went and examined the plot of land that was set aside, and he reported back that it was sterile and unsuitable. The prosecution argued it was a lush paradise, thus fit for weevils. This went on and back and forth for 8 months.
Wow.
And sadly, we will never know what the final verdict was because, and again, this is true, the last page of the court proceeding was eaten by insects.
I get so amazeballs. Like I could have spent, I could do like 10 segments on that thing. The animal court. It is so fucking insane.
Yes. Well, what's insane is that the animals seem not to respect the rulings of the courts.
That's
which
right.
It's just so rude.
It is rude.
Rather rude.
Well, some of the most fun we've had on this podcast has been reading the source material for the various and sundry world's religions,
Oh my God. It's been amazing.
and
And dreadful. I'm sorry. I read Ezekiel. It's also been fucking horrible.
it's
Yeah.
pretty horrible. One thing it absolutely is not is related in any way to what I was taught in church.
No.
And one of those hilarious stories was when back in episode 80, Dan tackled Jonah and the whale, which is a stupid story, even the little bit that we have, let alone the rest of the context. So let's.
I mean, is it a whale? That's part of the question.
yeah, right,
And then we'll just move on from there.
right. So
Right.
The fact that it's a giant fish or a great fish, depending on the version,
Yeah.
and not a whale, because typically in song and stuff it's Jonah and the whale,
Right.
is a huge, like, kind of almost like apologetic for Christians. When you're like, well, it was a whale, and they're like, oh, it was actually a great fish. I remember myself doing that, not understanding what point I was trying to prove.
Right. Yeah, exactly. You figured it out. It's solved now. Great. The difference between a whale and a fish.
The difference is if you got swallowed by a whale, you could possibly survive because at least there's air in there.
Is there?
I don't know.
I doubt it.
I think there's something in there.
Why would there be air in a whale's
There's no
belly?
air.
That's a good question.
If there's air in a fish, it just is at the surface because it's full of air.
Yeah. There's literally no air for anybody in. If you're in a sea-dwelling creature's stomach, if you're in my stomach, there's no air for you. I will just burp it up, and then it'll just be so. Like there is no air.
Maybe there's methane.
Well,
something.
Well, hold on. I'm currently on the Answers in Genesis website
Okay.
where it says.
Does it talk about a fish snorkel?
Well, it's talking about Jonah, and it says to defend the Bible, some people have gone hunting for scientific explanations. What fish is big enough to swallow a man? How could Jonah breathe underwater? How could he survive the digestive juices? Which is a nice term. There are plausible explanations for each of these questions.
No, there are not.
But okay, yeah, you go on, and I'll review these and see if they're worth discussing.
No, they're not. Let's just assume that they're not and move on. So Jonah, while he's in the fish, very wisely prayed. But then what else is there to do, I suppose, if you're in a fish? Chapter 2 of Jonah is basically one long prayer. It's just Jonah doing Monty Python's Meaning of Life prayer. Oh, Lord. Ooh, you are so big. So absolutely huge. Gosh, we're all really impressed down here, I can tell you.
Jesus. God, what a stupid story.
What a stupid book.
I wonder if Jonah ever ate fish again, or if it was just too much. You know what I mean? It's a little triggering.
Yeah.
Well, trigger
question.
fish.
Stupid.
That's so stupid.
Oh my God. I remember, Mark, see, the other thing that we like to do is talk about Mormon-y stuff because that's our bread and butter. That was what we were raised with.
You kill the snake that's closest first.
That's right.
Yeah.
So Mark, you actually had us in stitches talking about a bit of Mormon lore that I had not even been aware of, but you guys had gone and visited the area, hadn't you?
It's
or
crazy
something?
that you've never heard of this thing.
Yeah,
It's been around for a long time.
This was a Mormon fella somewhere in Utah who had crazy dreams and prophesied about finding shit in a mountain.
That's right.
Let's listen to it.
The dream did not die with him. No, dear uncles. John Coyle's disciples renamed it the Relief Mine in 1961.
The Relief Mine.
The Relief Mine, and got back to work seeking the treasure and reissuing stock. Despite spurts of digging over the years, the priceless hoard has yet to be found. But even now, 120 years since the dream began, an online community of believers still hope against hope. So strap in for this online community of believers. I found their weird first generation website, and I poked around. It's a Jell-O salad of the bizarre, the hilarious, and the achingly sad. In the testimonials section, I found a doozy of a tale. It's so rambling, so all over the place that I had to Google the guy whose name was attached to it to make sure it wasn't a Andy Kaufman level prank. Right? And it seems it's not. So here's some highlights from the 18-paragraph fever dream of a guy I will not name, so this isn't more cruel than it's intended to be. Speaking of his childhood neighbor that first introduced, and this is like a contemporary person. Speaking of his childhood neighbor that first introduced him to the dream mine, he would talk and get excited more about freedom and our country than the gospel, it seemed at times. But when it came to the relief mine, that was his very favorite to talk about and most beloved. He later adds, It wasn't until I met my cousin's girlfriend, and then when my cousin was in Arizona, that his girlfriend and I ran away together and got married when I was 17, that I was introduced to the relief mine again. But this time it was with the full power of the Spirit and in more detail of the knowledge and importance.
Wait a minute.
A little later, his adventure begins.
This is unnecessary detail.
Just bragging.
Just a little bit of a humble brag.
Guys, that's nothing. Later, his adventure begins. My wife and I read Norman Pierce's book, The Dream Mine, one chapter every night together. When we had read the whole book, I felt the Spirit very powerfully and knew it was true and that someday it would save my family. So then I called up the relief mine and even drove to the relief mine, but it was hard to get any response.
Called up. How do you call a mine?
It has a phone, apparently. The Nephites left an operating phone. Still later, a battered but unbroken hero keeps an ember of hope alive. Then years later, after I had married and divorced several women along the way,
Whose cousins did they belong to?
I had married my most recent wife. She found out about me owning the 20 shares and that they were now selling for $25 per share. So she got greedy and tried to convince me to sell the shares and pay her debts or to pay my debts or some debts with them. Just brief aside, that's $500. When I refused and told her that they are of the Lord and not to be sold and that they will save me and my family, whichever family at the time he had, I guess.
Right, yeah.
Save me and my family.
Or all of them.
When the setting in order came, she said she would divorce me every single time I would go to the relief mine service to do projects and work. I knew no matter what, I had to work at the relief mine and feel the peace and joy of the Spirit of the Lord there. I would feel that as though an angel was with me and calm my soul and lift me up in joy. I would go to work. I would go and work on the projects, even if I lost my wife through divorce. And this great,
that guy's not afraid of
Seems
divorce
to be a
anymore.
well-exercised muscle.
Oh no, you're going to divorce me. I'm terrified.
just another day that ends in a Y. So he concludes, we will have the fullness of the gospel again, which is united order and celestial plural marriage. We will have temple blessings and priesthood set right again. There will be food enough and money enough and housing and clothes. You get through this. I don't believe there will be any Babylonish things there, like video games, immodest clothing, TV, music, or even candy bars, etc. I'm not making a word of that up.
Candy bars, you whores of Babylon.
Babylonish. Babylonish?
Bunch of Babyloni.
I kind of forgot about that one.
Oh my God. That's a treat.
Oh my God.
No candy bars in heaven, I guess. But divorce is cool. Candy bars for no one, divorces for everybody. Oh God! So with that little treasure left behind us, I think it was back in episode 9 where Dan and I realized that we needed, very reluctantly, to bring Doug in as a full-time part of the show, mostly because we're lazy bitches. But Doug, it's hard to believe it, but we found some wonderful comedy in the greatest book ever written, simply called Leviticus.
Oh my God.
Let's go to the tape.
I think literally this one might have almost killed us. We almost died.
This was a hard one. So
recording this one.
Let's listen in, shall we?
Suckers.
So we get into the birds, which is fantastic. So where fish were extremely general,
right,
birds are extremely specific.
Okay.
So you do not eat the following: eagles, ossifrages,
what?
ospreys, vultures.
Your ossifrages, your various and sundry ossifrages.
It's a combination of an ostrich and a hawk. It's fucking frightening.
Vultures, kites, ravens, owls.
Yes.
Nighthawks, cacaos, little owls, cormorants, great owls, swans, pelicans, gear eagles, storks, herons, lapwings, and bats, which are not birds.
Yes, they are. Shut up.
But,
that's hilarious.
You might ask, what about owls?
No, because I feel like that was covered.
Somebody really, really liked owls.
That is the main reason I left religion, is my hankering for owl.
Who doesn't want to eat an owl every now and then?
Who?
I do. Every time I see an owl, I'm just like, oh, you
want that owl.
delicious son of a bitch.
I know what I'm having for lunch.
Sweet savor unto Mark.
Okay, so we move on to a little catch-all piece. So in case you're wondering, locusts, bald locusts, okay? Beetles and grasshoppers.
You can't eat locusts?
You can.
Oh, yeah,
So
go for it.
Locusts, bald locusts, beetles, and grasshoppers, bon appetit.
Okay.
Have at it.
Okay, hold on. You can't eat shrimp or oysters, but you can eat fucking grasshoppers.
Grasshoppers and bald locusts.
Delicious.
Okay, they're crazy.
You know, they're predicting, there are scientists who are predicting that the next big protein thing for humans now will be your
Soylent Green.
your grasshoppers, your bugs,
Your bald locusts,
your bald locusts.
your crickets.
Well, that's good because that's okay with
Because it's
Leviticus.
okay in the
Yeah.
Bible, so then it's really okay.
Well, I'm older than you guys. I'll be dead sooner, so you can have my grasshoppers.
We get a little catch-all section where just they didn't know where else to put it, so definitely avoid weasels, mice, tortoises, ferrets, chameleons, lizards, snails, and moles.
I didn't expect weasels to be. I don't know why that's so funny. Weasels. Did they have weasels in Israel?
Oh my
So the word weasel is in the Bible. It's so fucking funny to me.
I can't even talk. Oh my god! It's gonna. The rest of the show is just us laughing at weasels.
Okay.
Oh,
So my
my God.
weasel oyster ducking is out for the holidays this year.
what is the turducken version of a weasel owl mixture? I'm not sure.
With an oyster. I don't know, but I'll tell you what, Ivanka Trump will have a centerpiece for this year. Oh my god! I when I listened to this again. I haven't listened to it for ages. When I listened to it again the other night, I was just in tears. Like, oh my god!
I almost don't care if the listeners find that funny because that was just so much fun and literally our first purchase as a podcast was a stuffed weasel, which
Yes,
we have in the room right
Looking
now.
at it right now.
Yes, Pope Levi the Inedible
Yeah.
is gracing the studio in Salt Lake City right now. Because
Oh my God.
moments such like this lead to very strange drunken purchases later on. So.
Yeah, that really threw off my Amazon queue stuffed weasel.
So
good Lord.
that's a little look back at 100 episodes and gosh,
Wow, 100 episodes.
Yeah.
pretty dull overall if you think about it.
In the end, I think it's good that we're quitting today. It's nice to stop when you're on top.
That's right.
Yeah, the suicide
And,
pact. You guys took the pills, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. Yes.
You mean I bought these fucking Nikes for no reason?
Hey,
I'm getting sleepy.
you know what? Let's move on.
Let's move on.
Well, fellas,
Yes.
I hate to interrupt our 100th episode, but
Our
reverie,
extravaganza.
our reveries.
yes, indeed, it is extravaganza of X proportions. I don't know what that means.
No,
Hey,
doesn't mean anything.
I did want to pause us and just thank the people that we need to thank because we have some new patrons. Some of them did it for my birthday, like I asked them to on the Facebook. So thanks, everybody. Here we go. Thanks go out to Go Vegan, Get Sterilized, Save the World. You don't have to do that if you don't want to, but
It's kind of true. Yes.
there's the suggestion.
1 out of 3
Yeah.
ain't bad.
Yeah, there you go. Jason, Brian, Franduki.
Franduki.
I know the stripper's real name. and Doug, you get to do a
Oh,
saint
shit.
for Will.
Okay, Will. Your saint is Saint Deborah of of Yellowstone National Park.
Yeah.
While it still exists.
she's a federal employee.
That's right. She is the patron saint of discontinued currencies, a general malaise,
Yeah.
and sexual dilemmas.
I pray to her regularly.
Yeah. Mostly for the currency malaise.
Currency thing, yeah. I would keep
Yeah.
worrying about the.
Oh no, she's the patron saint of like Prussian francs,
Yeah.
and Confederate dollars.
I keep worrying about it.
All right.
I'm like, what will become of the Deutschmark?
And
And
where
by the
is
way,
it?
happy birthday, Dan.
Yes.
Thanks, guys.
Yeah.
Yeah. So
Show turns 100, you turn 100. It's a terrific coincidence.
we lined it up that way on purpose.
Perfection.
Hey, let's go finish out the rest of this show, shall we?
Let's do it.
Well, uncles,
Yeah.
100 episodes under our belts.
Hell of a ride.
Yeah. I guess we've done a clip show, which is something we've never done before.
Yeah.
And now I think we're gathered here together to talk about what has been the experience of doing 100 episodes.
That's right. We've at last done a clip show, so we have arrived at true podcasting hackery.
That's right.
We are
We have done it.
official. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, 100 episodes. The process has been really fun.
I can't believe how we have not run out of any material.
Yeah.
We are in no danger
That's what I was just thinking.
of running out of material.
No, we're not. We're
Mark,
not.
you remember when we were first talking about this show and whether or not we were going to do it, and there was like, well, let's sit down and brainstorm
Yeah.
a bunch of stuff, and just so that we feel like we could do maybe a year's worth of episodes.
Yeah.
Let's just see if that's even possible. So we did that, and we sat down. We sort of drew up a matrix of things that we could talk about, and
Yeah.
tentatively we decided, well, we could probably do this. We could
Yeah.
probably make it in. And
Right.
now it's just like, oh, we see the abundance
Yeah.
that is presented to us by the idiocy of religion.
Like life through the atoning blood of Jesus, it's eternal. It's infinite, right? It's
Yeah.
like we started out, we created a spreadsheet when we first started out. I'm like,
Right.
okay, let's put in some stuff like, acupuncture's funny. This old god is weird. Look at this silly pope. We're not a third of the way through it, and we haven't even put that much work into
No.
adding to it. But what's funny is every time one of us does, a research into a topic, you're like, okay, here's this weird thing, and you turn over the rock, and there's 50 more weird things under it.
Exactly.
Oh my God, it's so true.
They just branch out, and not only, what's funny too is they branch out in different directions. But as we have discovered, especially with kind of cult examinations, is they kind of bend back towards each other, don't
Yeah.
they?
Well, the other thing is that, and I've said this a number of times when I've done a segment on the Bible or whatever, but when we were starting out, I would look for weird, obscure Bible stories that I thought maybe were going to be just like, haha, I bet you didn't know that was in your Bible. And now, when I want to do a Bible story, I pick the most obvious Bible story I can think of, because all of them are invariably horrifying.
Yeah.
Right. And
Or
and they're-
so strange.
their meaning has completely been inverted by believers. So, things like when we talked about Samson earlier in the episode, like, it's a terrible fucking story.
Oh my
There is
God.
no moral at all to this story,
No.
right?
No. And also, as so many of our stories have pointed out, it's not even plausible. Like, the stories are not even, like, if human beings are actually the ones we're meant to believe are doing these things,
Yeah.
we know for a fact they couldn't have happened, because no person would be that stupid or that crazy or that weird. Like, it's absolutely not plausible.
Well,
Right.
and one thing that's become very apparent to me after 100 episodes is that the Bible that was crammed down my throat as a child is not the Bible. The Bible is mostly concerned with ornithophobia and ointments, right?
And tips of dicks. It's fear of birds and hatred of dick tips.
Yes.
That's it. That's pretty much the whole fucking story. And
my God.
And women suck.
And
That's
it doesn't get any better when we venture into any other religion
No.
than Christianity. It's just, there's never, people can say, oh, you know what, you're focusing on the obviously bad religions or the obviously bad stories or whatever. It doesn't matter.
Show me the good ones.
You point to a religion, and we'll look into it.
Yeah.
And it will not take us any time at all to determine why it's stupid.
Right.
Yeah, we're somebody once called us the click and clack of atheism. Like, we will diagnose the problem on the air.
Yeah. Yeah, exactly.
We'll figure out what's going on with your 1986 Mazda. So it's funny too, because that goes to kind of the universalism of all this garbage, is having done a ton of like religious figures and cult leaders and cults, the uniformity of each of those people, like that they're all basically exactly the same person, right?
Oh yeah.
How much commonality there is between the L. Ron Hubbards and the Joseph Smiths and the Jim Joneses and the David Koreshes, right? They're so fucking similar as human beings and personality types that it's like, it's just, there should just be a watch list. When that person who checks all those boxes appears in the world,
right?
They just go live under the care of the state somewhere.
Yeah.
Wouldn't it be great if we could put all cult leaders into like a sitcom? Put them all together.
Oh my God. Yeah, the Buddha's constantly just shushing everybody. Don't tell me to shut up, says LRH.
Joseph just puts his dick in everything.
They all do that.
Yeah, they're all.
Trust me, you don't want to sit on a single cushion in that house.
Exactly. Don't leave a pie unattended in that house.
Good luck getting this series greenlit, even though it's genius.
Right.
But something I've learned too, after almost 2 years of this, is doing this every week and kind of putting it out in the world, and the amazing amount of feedback we get from people, which is quite a bit. We get a lot of emails, a lot of people talk to us on Twitter. That it's fascinating how broad this spectrum is, right? How there are religious people that listen to this show and love it, right? There are, and we kind of originally aimed this towards, the people most in need of information, just newly out, trying to find their feet, trying to find information. How do I figure this out if I'm leaving religion? But it's crazy how many like old, long in the tooth atheists and skeptics love the show, as well as, like I said, some religious people.
Yeah,
I'm very surprised by that, and I really love it.
Well, you mentioned the kind of alarming commonality among cult leaders and religious figures. There's also a real commonality among our listenership in the exiting the religious experience. Whether you're escaping Judaism or Islam or Mormonism or whatever, we all kind of went through the same trauma, right? Like, we're all refugees of the same evil force. No matter what it is, we found our way out of, right?
Yeah, and we all need a nice, lighthearted look at that sometimes. Sometimes, there's a lot of serious things that we dealt with. We you're right that there's trauma for a lot of us, and there's difficult work to be done. But man, it's so much easier if you can just laugh about it.
Yeah, and we're not qualified, obviously, to help you with deep-seated problems that have been implanted by your religious experience.
We're not qualified to help you with anything.
But we can tell jokes.
Yeah, my Red Cross certification as a lifeguard expired 25 years ago, so I'm literally not qualified to do anything. Well, but yeah, I think that this helped us when we were kind of finding our way out. There's generally a lot of anger involved and a lot of hurt and a lot of pain. But if you can start to kind of turn those things into laughter and look at the things that once, caused you harm and once scared you. And, we talk about the devil and fear of hell and fear of the rapture and all this kind of shit. When you can get to the point that you're laughing at that stuff, you've made a huge leap in your life.
Yeah. Well, you mentioned, Mark, before we started recording that 100 episodes in and you're still unconvinced.
Yes. Yeah.
We've
changed my mind.
Right, exactly. We've dug into, we've read the source material. We've read about all of the founding fathers of these religions. And mothers of course, in some rare cases.
Right. Yeah.
And it's not just that they're unconvincing and vapid. I'm kind of shocked at how shabby most of these apologetics are, and how these stories that we were lived in fear of and used to justify our belief. At the end of the day, they're really pretty crappy.
Well, a lot of it is there's a lot of social pressure that's exerted by these guys. There's a lot of sort of
familial
mind
pressure.
Games that happen.
Yeah.
And if we can provide any kind of antithesis to that, any kind of like, let's apply some social pressure to you to enjoy your life and free yourself from crazy.
Yeah.
Then we've done
Our work is done.
something in the world.
I met when we did the Gamcast live show here in Salt Lake, and I don't know when it was, a couple years ago, with the God Awful Movies guys. We did their platinum night, and which we kind of watched the show with a bunch of patrons, a bunch of high rollers, and one of the guys that was there was a guy in his probably mid 50s to late 50s, and having a great time. And during the break, I was sat there talking to him. And I told him he was raised, I can't remember which faith he was, might have been Assemblies of God, something in, an intense Christian kind of situation in the U.S. And I was sitting there talking to him about my experience growing up in Mormonism, where there's this specific, we've talked about it before, a specific Sunday every month where Mormons kind of get up and there's an open mic thing where they can bear their quote-unquote testimony that is quote-unquote spontaneous. It's all the same shit, but there's a lot of crying and there's a lot of weeping, and it's very strangely emotional for an unemotional people.
Right.
And when I said to him, I thought I was broken because I felt nothing. I never felt it. I would stand there passing out the microphone to these people because it was my job as a kid in the church, and I felt nothing. And he looked at me and he's like, oh my God, that's the same feeling I had when people were speaking in tongues in my Pentecostal thing or whatever. And he's like, I never thought of it that way. He's like, I wasn't the crazy one. I thought I was broken. And so sometimes, it's a long story to get to this point, which is sometimes it just takes somebody saying, look at it from this angle. Right? Look at this thing that you've never had the wherewithal or courage to think about from just another angle, and it might change how you feel about it. Right, and hopefully, I mean, between the fart jokes and me clearing my throat, hopefully there's some value to what we put out there when we examine these stories.
Well, I certainly hope so. Fellas, I raise a glass to you. We've done it. We've done 100 of them. Whew. Here's to 100 more.
What do you think? Should we keep going?
I'm in. I'm loving it. I'm gonna keep going.
We should just keep going until we run out of material.
Until we run out of
or
material.
the sun explodes.
So we'll see you guys in episode 4000.
Yes.
When we're all 122 years old.
See you on the other side, folks. Thanks for listening for 100 episodes. We love you. We couldn't do it without you, but we probably would anyway.
Hey, let's close the show.
All right, let's move on.
Well, friends, that's it for this week's 100th show.
If you want us to stop and you need to beg us, send us an email at howto@howtoheretic.com.
Or if you have a Babylonish candy bar, you can tell us about it at 903-88-HOW-TO, which is 903-884-6986. Also on Twitter, where you can congratulate us for our 100th episode at HowToHeretic.
And thanks to our awesome patrons.
And thank you so much to our 100-episode boy, Cody Layton, for editing 100 shows.
Indeed.
Oh my gosh, and this one especially. And thank all of you, friends, for tuning in.
Bye, friends.
Bye-bye.